Welcome to Improv for the podcast. On this week's episode, we are joined by Austin Irving, who will tell us all about her improvisational journey. We'll play a couple games and, most importantly, learn how she improv'd her life. Let's hit it. Welcome to Improv for the podcast. I'm your host, Michael Lee Evans, and today we are joined by the incredibly talented photographer, artist, improviser, Austin Irving. Austin, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing this evening?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing quite well. Couldn't be better, actually. Feeling really good. Thank you for asking.
All right. Well, we're so glad you're here. Thank you for wearing, seasonally appropriate colors. I myself, I'm trying to camouflage into the wall this week, because on any show with an interview, it's the host's job to kind of blend in and let the guest shine.
I'm ready to do that for you, Michael. I'm ready to shine.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing the star power. Yeah, so I'm taking that very literally this week. Austin, so for our audience members at home who might not know, what is your relationship to Improv for the People and the studio?
Let's see. I've been at the studio for a little over a year now.
All right,
yeah,
that's amazing.
A little over a year.
Happy 1 year.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it feels great.
All right, so you've been doing improv here at IFTP for a little over a year, and what have you done, like Wednesday night classes or?
Let's see. I started out on Monday.
On Mondays.
And then there was a scheduling snafu, and I on a whim went to Wednesday and never looked back.
The Wednesday whim.
The Wednesday whim. It was just really enjoy that group of people. It's really quite delightful.
I do as well. I am a little biased. Shout out the Wednesday class. We were in the Wednesday class together for a time.
And it was just a delight.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. All right. Well, Austin, we're going to dive into your improv experience a little more later. I don't want to open things up too much yet.
All right.
But before we do, as is tradition here on Improv for the podcast, we're going to play a little three things.
Okay.
All
Very
right.
good.
All right.
I'm ready.
So in this game, of course, it's always personal. I've done a bit of digging about Austin Irving. Google that. And so we're going to see what's up. So Austin, do you have any questions before we play three things?
Right now, no.
Yeah, I think you got it.
No questions.
Right? I'll list a category. You tell me three things from it.
I'm going to do it.
Great. Here we go. Yeah. All right. These are three things. Types of noodle.
Oh, we have ramen.
1.
We have rice.
2.
And we have spaghetti.
3. These are three things. Things that make someone a New Yorker.
Oh, that's easy. Chip on your shoulder. Really good at hailing a cab.
2.
Street screaming.
3.
Yeah.
These are three things. All right. Last category. Artists/photographers that inspire you.
Oh, God, that's tough. Let's see. We have the Beshers.
1.
We have Candida Hoffer.
2.
And then we have Thomas Demand.
3. These are three things, or people. Well done. All right. Okay, I got to open it up. Your noodle takes. When I thought of the noodle category, I think I immediately was like rigatoni, macaroni, all that. But I love you were just like ramen, rice, spaghetti. Boom.
Classic.
You made it a lot simpler.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of all these like absurd noodle types in my head.
Well, we did recently talk about ramen.
That's true.
So I had that in my back pocket.
Yeah.
And I really want some now. So
yeah, I had some over the weekend. So
isn't that nice for you?
Yeah. Actually, it really was. Thank you so much.
So warm. So delicious.
It was delicious. So you had some egg in there.
So
some green onions.
Egg.
Yeah.
Very good.
I always throw in the chili oil. Ooh.
Classic.
Okay, I'm getting hungry. I already ate dinner, but. Okay. So solid noodle choices. And for context, we did talk about ramen before we started recording. So fresh on the brain. If you had to pick one favorite type of noodle right now that you were going to spend the rest of your life with, what would it be?
Favorite type of noodle for all eternity. So this is an eternity noodle.
Yeah, this is a monogamous noodle.
Okay. I think I'd have to say rice noodle.
Rice noodle.
Yeah. I
That's
really like rice noodle. I like Vietnamese food. Oh, I went out for a sec. I like Vietnamese rice noodles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good choice.
Like a little lighter.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
that's
not
true.
so light because, ramen can really sit there for a minute. Yeah.
It can get pretty heavy.
Yeah.
That's a good choice.
It's worth it.
I would probably pick an egg noodle.
An egg. Okay.
Yeah, but I envy the agility that you're still going to have.
Got to think about the future if this is a forever noodle.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm thinking about the now, not the long term. All right, good start. That second category, things that make someone a New Yorker. So, Austin, why did I ask you about New York?
That was where I was forged I was forged in that town, born and bred. Yep. That is research available information that I'm
From
sure
the
you
fires
found
of New York. Yes.
It's where I grew up. It was a very strange place to be a child. I grew up right on 29th Street and 8th Avenue, which is very close to Penn Station and Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
In fact, there was
MSG,
not an alley, but there was like a break between two blocks of buildings, and I could see the side of Madison Square Garden from my bedroom window, which is a very strange. I mean, it's just a lot. It's a high energy part of an already high energy place. So, but it was really cool. I grew up in this really cool building that used to be a factory. It was this loft, very industrial, so rad. I mean, when you're a kid, you don't know any more than that. Yeah. Climbing around on my water tower, just having cool city fun.
Like Spider-Man.
Yeah, it was very very Spider-Woman-y. Yeah, totally.
Okay. Wow. Okay, that's amazing.
Yeah.
If I needed to learn how to hail a taxi, can you give me a demonstration?
Right now?
Yeah, right now.
Okay, yeah. Am I taking this off and doing it?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Sorry, audio listeners.
It's really about the confidence. You have to get out into the middle of the street.
Okay. Just make yourself known. Make yourself known.
Like try and make eye contact.
Oh.
And it's very like urgent. It's an urgent thing.
Eye contact, urgent, make yourself known.
And it's a confidence thing too.
Okay.
It's a confidence thing because if you just are like, you're gonna splash in the face. Yeah, like no one will. They'll just run you right down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's confidence, urgency, and attitude, and you can never let someone else take your cab.
Yeah, because then it's like,
yeah, you can't. That's
All right.
So
all right, I'll keep that in mind. It's been a few years since I've been to New York, and last time I just took the subway, so I get it. But next time I'm there, I gotta have that taxi energy.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Austin, for that tutorial. That's a good tourist tip for everyone. What to do next time you're there. All right. That final category, artists and photographers that inspire you.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, the Beschers. Beschers, Candida, and then I can't remember the third one.
Beschers is a husband and wife team. Actually, all of the photographers and artists that I chose are German, interestingly enough. I just realized that. The Beschers and then Candida Hoffer, who's, our fine art and photography is still, especially fine art photography is still a man's game. There's quite a lot of famous male photographers, and she's just so unbelievably rad, and she's like a living legend, and she also works with a similar camera format as me, and I just think her work is pretty incredible. And then Thomas Demand, he's more of a sculpture artist. He builds these incredible, super lifelike sets with paper, and then photographs them with a large format camera, which is the kind of camera I use. And they're amazing. And then he destroys them, and then they're gone. Am I cutting in and out? Is it cool?
It sounds good.
Okay, good.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Anyhow, I'm a large format photographer, so I gravitate towards other artists who use that medium.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense, because you're like, how are you using this tool, right? What are you creating? And I think that's interesting that he destroys it afterwards. So he captures it in a photo, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. Kind of reminds me of something like improv.
Oh, it is. It's really, you have to, it's ephemeral in that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's there, it lives in the moment, and then
Gonzo.
Gone.
Yeah.
And you either witness it, or it's not there. It's not there. And I mean, at least he gets pictures of it.
I know.
Yeah, we can't even do that.
It's true. That's true. Although it's funny too when you see recordings of improv shows, because it's so. I mean, I'm sure it's just so much more fun in the audience if you're there physically. Yeah. So
it's like if you ever want to watch a video of people having more fun than you, just watch an improv performance.
It's really quite fun.
Yeah, I have a DVD of improv shows, and it's.
That's dorky.
Yeah, it is. It's not of mine. No, that would be weird if it were mine. But yeah, and I watched the whole thing just to learn from.
Yeah,
but
no, of course.
I am envious of everyone who's.
Yeah, it looks like fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you ever want to feel bad about yourself, just look up other people doing improv on YouTube,
enjoying their lives.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for sharing, Austin, and diving into those categories a little bit. But we're here tonight, of course, on Improv for the podcast on our journey to fully light our sign. you know, we're building towards it week over week. I want to ask you, Austin, about your journey with improv and where it started. So I want to ask, when was the first time in your life that you heard about improv? You not necessarily started doing it, just like heard like, oh, improv, that's a thing. First learned about it.
Gosh, I don't know that I could pinpoint the exact. I think I've come from a family of actors, so I think all the various forms of acting were kind of always swirling around, and I saw a lot of theater as a kid, and you know, growing up in New York, especially, you kind of have to. You got access, so you might as well just delight in that. No, I don't. So I couldn't pinpoint it. I think maybe when I was a bit older and I could understand the difference between stand up and improv, and then I was like, oh, cool. But you know, UCB in New York was literally that theater was next door to my supermarket. Wow. So it was always like kind of annoying, actually, because there was all these lines, and I'm like, I'm just trying to get cereal, you know. And grocery shopping in New York City is also just, you know, you can't. It's like, heaven forbid you bring like a liquid, you have to like carry it up 10 flights. It's heavy. It's like, so it was already like fraught. But no, my first desire to do improv was actually born from a fear of public speaking. I did not want to be an actor. I was not interested in acting. That was kind of like the rest of my family. They excelled greatly in that, and I just had like stage fright as a kid. But I realized if I was going to be, you know, a internationally renowned artist, I'm going to have to be able to speak clearly in front of large groups of people, anyone. I just had to be confident speaking publicly, and I decided to take a class at UCB in New York.
Okay,
and it was hard. It was really hard. Yeah, it was terrifying. Yeah, it was like it was like a summer intensive, so it was many days a week, and it was like an exposure practice. I was like, and it wasn't until we played that game. I'm sure you know the name of it. I can't remember the name. Where you start singing and then you jump. Hotspot. Yeah. It wasn't until that where I was like, wait a second, I do this all day. Like this is something I do at home, and I was so into it. And then from that moment on, I was like, wait, this is really fun. The end, you know. And then and then when I moved to LA, I just continued my classes at the UCB here.
Wow, that's amazing. I studied at UCB in LA, and I know I've read a ton of books, like Amy Poehler's books. So I love like, you know, the early like UCB days, and just, you know, its foundations in New York, right, is so influential on kind of modern improv as it is today. I mean, I went there. A number of our guests who've come on have studied there, so it's an important place. I mean, I learned Hotspot there too. It was, and it's funny. Game. The LA classes felt different than as anything would be in New York and LA, but the coastal differences.
It was a little less intense in LA, so I was happy to be.
I think everything is a
little less intense.
It's that West Coast kind of laid back mindset.
So we, I took those classes for many years. It was wonderful. Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna say we're a softer bunch over here, you know, than the East Coast.
You know, and the hardness, why do you have to be so hard? You know, it doesn't. Yeah. I'm not missing that energy right now. So
yeah. I mean, if I think about it, I'm like, oh man, if I were on stage with a bunch of like East Coast improvisers, they'd like bully me in a good way, you know. But you know,
it's a different energy for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so you started at UCB. That was your first exposure to improv, and you jumped in because, you know, you're on your path. You are, I believe, an internationally renowned artist, from what I can tell. And I've seen some of your work, austinirving.com. You should check it out. Some amazing, beautiful, large format photography.
There you go. Perfect.
Some great stuff. Thank you. So you were like, I got to know how to public speak, right? Which is such an important skill. You jumped into improv, and you said you didn't like it at first. You kind of hated it.
Yeah.
Was it tough? And did you feel that like, were other people there just to be actors or trying to get on SNL, or what was their motivation?
I guess you mean my first class?
Yeah, that first class.
I think I was so consumed by my own anxiety, I truly did not pay attention.
Yeah.
And I think that was actually part of why it's so hard at first, is because you're so self-conscious. And I think once I was able to let go of the fear of being just a total idiot and like making a fool of myself, that's when it, became really, really fun.
Yeah.
And that was hard to do.
Yeah.
Initially.
Oh yeah.
But very, very useful in general, not even just public speaking, but just in general, to not take things so seriously and let the little ham inside of me fly. Ham flight.
Ham flight. I like that a lot. Yeah. I think we all need to do that, to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so at some point you moved from New York to Los Angeles and you continued your improv studies. So how long would you say have you been studying improv, working in your craft?
Let's see. It was probably about 5 or 6 years. And then I had to stop all acting. And then I guess now this past year, but there was a very clear moment where I had to not I couldn't, let's see, I had to recover from some stuff, and it was very difficult. Yeah, it was difficult to be on display.
Yeah.
To be like, to have to be pretty. Like, it was just sort of like, I can't do that right now.
Yeah.
But and in fact, improv, IFTP, has been instrumental in a lot of the recovery stuff, which is really, really cool, because even though improv in the beginning was very liberating, I was still operating with like an eating disorder mind, which is very, very restrictive, and like not a lot of joy being allowed through. And then once I found our studio, I just realized how badly I had been missing that freedom after I had done a lot of recovery work stuff. So it's been a huge part of my journey towards just feeling comfortable as a person with a body in the world. Yeah. So yeah, for that reason, it's been medicinal even. Yeah. IFTP. Yeah, it's a wonderful place for that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I had Sid on just a couple weeks ago, and that was something we talked about, as kind of improv as therapy.
Yeah, yeah.
Something like you said, it's kind of a place you can come and just for 2.5 hours while you're here, you get just a little bit of joy, and do something totally different from the rest of your life. Just sit in a room with some great people. Yeah. And you're laughing at them, they're laughing at you, and it's all so positive and encouraging and accepting. Yeah. And it's such a sacred time. Like, I know more. For me, when I came here, I hadn't done improv for a few years. I mean, because of the pandemic and just, lots of stuff. Right. Because I started at IFTP in like September 2021, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And just coming in here was, I was like, I've needed this for a few years now.
Yeah, you don't even realize it. And then I think actually after one of my first classes, I had Jamie on the Monday night, and I think I like went up to him and like cried at him. I was like, thank you. And he's like, okay. He's like, yep, it's very powerful. Yeah, I think I shed a tear. I definitely shed a tear, because it was like a release of, clamp down.
Yeah. 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 And like, you can kind of come into an improv class here at Improv for the People, or, any improv class, I think. But, not to toot our own horn, but I am. And it is an opportunity just to kind of, let loose, and you can just be someone that you can't always be everywhere else.
Totally.
And just get it out.
Yeah. It's wonderful. It's I think they should teach it in schools. Yeah. I think it should be a mandatory thing. I mean, I know that's an awkward time in general, but like, it's confidence building.
Yeah. Yeah. When I used to be a middle school teacher.
That's right. I think I knew that. Yeah.
And I did try early in my education career, I did try to like do an improv class, and I don't blame the kids at all. It was definitely my fault. Like, it didn't go as well as it could have. Because I think I was just like trying to figure out how to be a teacher first. Right, so like I was just, I had a lot of things I was struggling with. But like I had a core group of kids who really held it down for me, and we did have a lot of fun. It got messy, but we had fun.
Good.
And I think getting middle schoolers to do that too can be really tough, because that's an age where
God, it's so awkward.
You don't want to get up in front of people, and just everything is.
I had terrible stage. Everyone had to be in the school plays, because I went to kind of a small school, and I just was like, I just dreaded it. I was in the Wizard of Oz and I was like tree number 2, and I was like,
that's the best tree in the show.
I was like, I hate I threw like an apple at Dorothy, and I was like, that was it. Like, it just was terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun thing to get to do though. Throw an apple at Dorothy.
It was fun. Yeah. Felt good. just hurl an apple.
Hey, Austin, just a note for you. A great throw. That you just nailed it. Keep that up. I want to see that on the show tonight. All right.
Yeah, totally. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but that is such a tough age to get kids to jump up there on stage.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely tough. And I mean, I myself, I was into it at that age, but I know I was rare. Like, not everyone digs it.
You did musical theater.
Yeah. So
you were the kid who actually wanted to be on stage.
Yeah, I was. I was like, come on.
Sing Les Mis for everybody.
Yeah. Well, oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, at camp. Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
Miss that show, Les Mis. Yeah. Okay. So I want to jump back a little bit, back to your UCB days.
Oh, okay.
And as you're taking these classes, you finish your intensive, and after you finish that intensive, you kept going. You kept coming back to UCB, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I kept going back, and UCB is very structured. There's 101, 102, So I just kept taking the next class up. Yeah. And I got up to when you needed to start auditioning for the teams.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So I did, a bunch of classes, and I think I wasn't trying to be discovered for SNL.
Yeah,
and that
you were just doing it.
I was just, I was doing other acting stuff, and it all kind of informed itself, with the more dramatic stuff. But
of course,
it had a intensity for people who really, there was a lot of competition, and there weren't as many girls, which I was bummed out about. I like that the studio has a pretty even, there's no gender disparity on that level. And so it was a guy humorous can sometimes be a slightly, if it's like a whole group of them doing it, it's sort of, sometimes I felt a little left out, but I didn't really, it wasn't like this thing it wasn't like my career choice for all eternity. So I didn't really care that much, I guess. But I guess, I don't know. Maybe I thought I would have joined. I was on a team, a group, an all-girl group once, and we had a lot of rehearsals, but we never actually performed, which is kind of a bummer, because that's kind of what it's about.
Yeah. So like, we're building,
and then it was a little anticlimactic, but it was fun to get it, to think about it, and
just to practice.
Yeah, just to practice.
Really study and take notes and coach each other.
Yeah.
So I think that's really amazing that it went from something that you just started. You're like, okay, I want to get better at public speaking. I don't know if I'm going to like this, but I mean, right off the bat, you signed up for an intensive. Yeah. Like, that's a bold choice.
I'm a Sagittarius. I don't do anything halfway. It's very all the way in. Do it. Yeah. There's no halvesies. Yeah.
That's good. I respect that, because I think, especially with something like improv, I think you have to, that Sagittarius mindset, right? Yeah. You gotta go for the whole thing.
Really do, yeah. And then you get the most out of it.
And I think you have done that with improv. Like, you went through the UCB course, you studied, you practiced, refined your craft there. You came out here to LA, you did more, you came to IFTP. Like, that's, oh my gosh, the skills and the knowledge and experience you have in improv is amazing, Austin.
Thank you. Thank you so much for recognizing my journey.
Yeah. That's like, you've done a lot of high level stuff,
I guess so. I mean, I haven't done that much performing though, which I think is it's a different thing. Although I did have my very first show here, which I hadn't performed, done improv in front of, an audience in a really long time. And it was, what do I say? It was exquisite. I was so sad when it was over. Yeah. I was just like, why? We could keep going. It was so much fun. And I felt so lucky that I got to be there with all, we just did such a great job. It was I had so much fun. And I could see myself going and doing that more often.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really fun.
Oh, absolutely.
And Daryl made little, he had the image of the flyer,
the canvas
printed
things,
on
right?
the canvas thing.
Yeah.
But, he didn't make one for everybody. And I was so jealous, and then I made him make me one.
Yeah.
And now I have it, and it's hanging on my wall.
Hot seat Daryl. Yeah.
And Daryl was so sweet about it. He was like, "I have it. I don't know. He probably thought I didn't want it, but he was wrong. I wanted it really bad. Give me that. I was like, give it to me. So now I have it, and it's just a wonderful marker because there was
it's momentous.
It's momentous, and it's nice to have that memento. And I just there was definitely periods of time where I thought I would never act again or perform or do anything because it was so untenable to be in my body. I was just like, there's no way. So to do it and to have so much fun and for it to go so well was a huge win for me.
Yeah.
It was a huge win for me.
Absolutely.
So
I think
very proud of myself.
I was in the show after that one. So unfortunately I didn't get to see your show, but I wish I
bummer.
had.
Yeah. I wish I'd seen your show.
We miss it.
Yeah.
Ships in the night.
Yeah. But you've done a lot of performing here.
Yeah. I've been very fortunate that I've had the opportunity.
It's just so chill. It's not like a thing. I thought it was going to be like a big scary thing, but it really wasn't. It was delight.
The first show I did here, I was also incredibly nervous because it had been a long time, and like my girlfriend at the time, she was like, the whole time we had known each other, I hadn't really been doing like improv or anything like that, even though like on the scale of my life, like acting and performing has been a huge part of it. It was just in that short time, and then the pandemic, like none of that was happening. So that was her first chance to like see me perform something. So I remember being like, oh my, there's this whole part of me like she doesn't even know yet. I mean, now she's my wife, so it worked out. But yeah.
Must have gone well.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't totally bomb, but I just remember I was like, this is crazy. Like she doesn't know that I do, like this has been me for so long.
Right.
Yeah. I think it sounds like for you too, it was something like you're getting back in touch with like, this has been a part of my life. I mean, I think you've always been involved in the arts, right? In some capacity.
Yes, absolutely.
Like your parents just growing up, probably surrounded by that environment, and then you yourself personally in your own pursuits. Yeah. Yep. Have you seen during your career, both as a photographer and an improviser, let's maybe focusing on the New York days.
Sure.
We'll get to LA, but in the New York days, was there any like crossover, do you feel, in like maybe some of the skills or just like practices or tools that you learned in improv that were helpful in your artistic work in photography, or vice versa?
I would have to say I don't think I reaped the benefits of any of that cross-pollination until I moved to Los Angeles, because it was actually shortly after I took that first class that I moved. So there wasn't a lot of, in New York, it felt to me, and I've heard other people say this, that it's difficult to do a lot of different things. It's difficult to be an artist and an actor. It's, it doesn't, you kind of have to pick one and just go hard or go home kind of thing. Yeah. There's so much competition. And I felt very liberated by the fact that Los Angeles it was almost welcoming to be like, oh, you do this, and it was exciting that the fact that these different art forms could inform. I don't think I had ever really even considered that before, because I was such a diehard New Yorker, and it's just like, the more you suffer, the more it shows you really care.
Suffer for your art.
And I didn't feel
blood, sweat, tears.
There was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and I didn't want to subscribe to that anymore, because I choose joy over suffering and whenever possible.
Yeah, I feel like most people should try and do that.
But in New York, I don't think it's a badge of honor to suffer. So for some people,
chip on your shoulder,
just little chips, little chips there. But I think I saw that the benefits of those things colliding, mostly with networking and like having to be on in a way where it doesn't feel forced, and just comfortable and like lectures and whatever you have to do, talks, interviews, all of the above, So it was nice to have the acting practice was wonderful for that, because then it didn't feel so weird to like do all. It was just another thing I did in front of people. Actually, weirdly enough, auditioning for commercials was probably the most helpful, because you had to. There was a very small chance I was going to get anything right. It was so slim, but you go in, you do it, you give everything, and then it's a bless and release kind of thing, which is kind of like improv too, where you have to give it all, and then you said it just disappears. It's not there anymore. And so lots of parts of acting I think have helped me be a little bit less loosen the grip on the things you can't control, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I like that bless and release.
bless and release.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something I often say, not as a joke, but something silly. I'm always like, let go and let God. Yeah,
It's true.
so
It's the same thing.
But it's that idea,
it really
right?
is. You can't, because there's really, oh my God, there's so little we can control.
Yeah.
There's only so much.
I'm going to do my part. I'm going to show up, give it my best.
Yeah. And then that's it.
Yeah.
And to walk
there it
out.
goes.
Yeah. And then you're just next thing. And
Yeah.
I mean,
move on to the next.
Yeah. I mean, commercial, it's like a numbers game anyway.
Oh,
so,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those, oh man, I haven't done a commercial audition in a little while.
Oh my God.
But yeah, it's it's kind of a crapshoot. But
It is a crapshoot.
yeah.
I kind of wish I had done it, that my stint in that area was during self-tape.
Yeah.
Because my God, the
Yeah,
number
it's-
of times
It's a lot different now.
remember parking, I had to park. It's just like travel. It's like the whole day. And it's
Yeah.
like living on the east side, and then heaven forbid your auditions in like Santa Monica. You're like, that's
Yeah.
the day.
Oh,
you know?
I had. Yeah, it's brutal, and then you're like, I'm not even gonna get it,
I'm not
and
even
then I
gonna get
just
it.
yeah.
Yeah, you kind of have to just like you have to just accept that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just go. So yeah, weirdly enough, those were very
Yeah.
like, toughen me up a little. You know?
Yeah, because it's very much you show up and you're like, I'm gonna try and make something of this, like Reese's commercial or whatever it is.
Sitting in a room full of people that just look exactly like you, that is always sort of intense too.
It's a little disappointing. You're
little
like,
weird.
oh, I'm not special. Like,
It's like girl next door and next door, the other next door,
Yeah,
this
it's like,
next door.
it's a strange neighborhood. We're all
we're all
just
the same girl
yeah.
next door. Yeah, totally. I don't know. I don't really miss the commercial acting part, but I really love the improv. So I don't think that's gonna go anywhere. Mostly because it's just like as you said, it's therapeutic in that way.
Yeah, yeah,
It makes each day better.
yeah.
You get to do it.
Do you think kind of the relationship you have with improv has changed over time from when you started to maybe how you view it now?
Well, I think it's almost weirdly morphed back into the beginning, which was that it was a way to learn more about myself and push myself to be uncomfortable in order to grow. And then it went into more acting and performative and auditions and commercials and then that was not sustainable with where my head was at with body image stuff. It just was really not sustainable. And then now it's come back to sort of a self-care, not even but more therapeutic and also just for just for confidence. Makes me feel confident.
Yeah, and I think we all need that little boost. It helps.
Yeah.
To show up somewhere and feel supported, you take that with you. You take that out the door.
Really,
You're like,
really,
all right.
I really do feel better about myself.
Yeah,
I really do.
yeah.
Because it's I did that.
Yeah.
Not everybody can do that. I have a lot of friends who would be incredible improvisational actors, but they're I would never. And I was like, but you could.
Yeah, you could just try it.
Just try
Yeah,
it.
come on, just try
But,
it.
if someone had told me just try to be and I wasn't ready, I'd be no way, Jose. There's no way.
Yeah, absolutely not. Yeah. Yeah, it's not something you could be you're coming. I'm forcing you to go to this class.
No, you have to really want to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. If a worst thing to do, if you ever have a hostage, don't force them to do improv.
No.
Yeah.
Or the middle schoolers, apparently.
Yeah, well, that was more the teacher. It's probably both. But I think if I were to do it now, that was 5 years ago.
Oh, okay. Well, no, now you're much,
Yeah, I worked at the school for 5 years. So that was right in my first 2 months. I was trying to do that.
No, it was too much
mistake.
Too soon.
But if I'd done that towards the end of my teaching journey, it would have gone better. Yeah. It was just I was busy with other stuff at that point, unfortunately, so I couldn't. So, I guess we'll never know. But
we'll never know.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I want to ask, how'd you find IFTP? Because you moved out here, you were doing UCB for a while, you took a break from improv.
Let's see, it was during the pandemic, and so it was I guess I started in 2021 too.
Yeah.
It was November or something. And I had wanted to get back into improv. I didn't know how that was going to look with the pandemic. And I had recently moved from downtown to Culver City. And I was I don't want to drive. I don't want to drive to the valley. I don't want to drive, and I just was looking at places that were within driving distance. I mean, it takes me like 11 minutes to drive here.
Oh.
I'm so lucky. I know. I really lucked into a gem.
Maybe one day.
I know. I'm very lucky. So I think there was laziness played a part in my Google search.
A great motivator at times. Great motivator.
But also, I don't know. I just sort of was like, threw caution to the wind and was like, you gotta try something. Just go. And if it's, if you're not into it, just try something else. But first class, I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I think there was a moment, there was a couple of times where I was like, oh, maybe I should audition for the Groundlings. I was like, oh, maybe I should do that and like switch over to the other,
the
school.
West Coast kind of
the other school.
Like,
but I think I was just I felt rusty and like out of practice. I hadn't done it in so long.
Yeah.
To go from nothing to like an audition, it was like a little. I'm sure I probably would have been fine. I'm sure it would have been fine, but like it just didn't feel like fun to me.
You would have been fine.
But it was still. It didn't. I was like, why am I doing it if it's not gonna be fun? I'm not trying to like.
Yeah.
So
I did that Groundlings audition on Zoom.
You did?
Yeah. It's
oh my gosh.
I mean, an audition on Zoom.
Not for improv?
Yeah, it was rough. Like imagine doing space work. I remember that some guy I was with doing a scene. We were both in a kitchen.
Terrible.
Oh, it was hilarious.
You were trying to do an improvisational audition scene with someone else, and they were doing. Oh no.
Yeah, I mean the audition is like not. It's not a lot because the audition is for everybody.
Right.
So they're just trying to figure out like, hey, can you start like our classes, or you need to go to like the workshop because you've never done improv in your life before.
Right.
So you'd be fine.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
We did it on Zoom, and it was.
That's really funny.
Oh man,
I can't even imagine that.
I was like, this is something else.
Yeah.
But that's a whole other story. So yeah, I'm glad you found this place.
Me too. I was talking with another classmate of ours, Amelia. I don't know if you know her.
I don't know that I've met Amelia.
Yeah, and she has a team. She's performing all the time. She's really, really great. And she pointed out that there's just not a lot of super career actors. It's a mix. It's not just people who want to be, which I love. And I think that is what makes the difference, is that it's people who, it's just people. It's not, it's not like people trying to clamor for the spotlight, or like, is this going to look good on my resume kind of thing. And, I'm sure it would look good on lots of people's resumes, but it doesn't, that energy, which I felt, I think more so at UCB on the East Side, was a little bit more, urgent in that way, I guess.
Yeah.
But, so I think that I was like, I don't know, feels a little less intense in that way, which makes it more effective for me, at least. So,
because it's not everybody's like, okay, am I good yet? Am I good yet?
Right.
I'm good, right? I'm good. Okay, great. I passed. I'm good. Yes.
Right. That's what it is. There's not as much need for that validation. I think. Yeah. That's, you totally hit the nail on the head. Yeah. So that's what I like.
I think
about this place.
That definitely drew me in too, because I think coming from UCB, that was the last place I did before I came here.
Oh right, yeah.
So I know that pass fail mindset almost that you have. And like, I remember I had that always in my classes. I'd be like, okay, like every week I'm like, did I do well enough today that I'm gonna pass at the end of this 8-week class or whatever?
Right.
And then I'm like, I had a bad day. Like next week I really better bring it because I don't want to fail and then pay another $500.
Right, it's so expensive
to repeat. You're trying to be like economically efficient,
right,
as well as efficient with your time.
Yeah,
and I think that works for some people, and I can't say it didn't work for me, but it's a level of stress that I think can take away from your learning.
I think so too. Yeah, I think so too. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've learned so much there, and I really.
I mean,
it was
a big fan.
Very. It was, and it was a supportive environment. It wasn't, but not as supportive as IFTP. This is very much. It's more of like a. That's like a. I'm just going to use a terrible analogy about a bra and a training bra, but I'm not going to use it because it's bad. But
I'll do my best to follow on.
It's like a supportive, but this is like a cozy blanket that's also supportive. It's more like safety. Whatever. It's two completely different schools. So.
Maybe like a bra and like a sports bra.
There we go.
Okay. Yeah.
You did get there.
Yeah.
You helped me.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah. My wife would be so proud.
The underwire is a little grating, but the sports bra it's supportive without that kind of metal wire.
Yeah, digging in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got there.
Okay, we got there.
I'm
we got there. Yeah.
thrilled with this analogy now.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's the female listeners are going to be like,
Yeah.
I love this.
We get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Improv for the people,
Yes.
right? Everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that analogy, like, it's clicking, I think, as much as it can for my brain. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Like something with wire, that's going to dig a little bit. Something with no wire,
You can
probably
wear
not
a
going to
sports
dig.
bra much longer than you can wear an underwire
That makes
bra.
sense. Yeah.
There's more you can,
Yeah. But you're still going to get what you need.
you're still going to get what you need.
You're still going to get what you need. And that's important. And to your point, Austin, I think thinking about, like you said, like the motivations that people come here with, I think it's just week over week. And we've talked about it. I've talked about it with a few guests, but I always love to bring it up because I think it's just interesting. Like you said, I mean, even thinking about that Wednesday class we were in, like the different, like, everyone was there at different reasons. Like you remember Tyler, like my friend Tyler. Shout out Tyler. I miss you, man. I don't know if he listens. I gotta bother him about it. But anyway, he's an actor. Like that's his main thing. It's a very serious thing. And he was coming because he wanted to get better at his improv skills because we did a little in college, but he hasn't done a ton since then. And he's like, yeah, I know I need to brush up on that and get better at it because it's helpful for him in auditions, and self tapes, and cold reads and all of that. And I think for me, like my motivation for coming was just because I love improv.
Right.
There are times in my life where I wanted to do acting and all that, but right now I'm just kind of at a point where I just want to do improv.
Yeah. And you got to follow that.
That's what it's all about.
Thread if you're feeling it. Yeah. I took a cold reading class for years. It was actually a really cool because it was weirdly improvisational. Because you had to honor what you were feeling in that exact moment. And I got really good at like picking up the lines really quickly. And it was amazing what everyone did in that class because it was improvisational in that there was no planning. There was no ulterior, like, okay, on like page 5 and you get the text in the morning, you read it a couple times, that's it.
Yep.
Full scenes, like dramatic scenes. I guess I was wanting more of the lighter comedic version of that. Although there were comedic scenes, but so because cold reading for a lot of actors is very scary and hard. I've
done some bad cold reads in my day.
Everyone's done a bad cold. It's really easy to be bad at, but it's that same freedom to let yourself just have whatever you feel. And then that's the thing that the character is. That's what you're feeling. That's what it is. So at the end, there's no dancing around. If you're angry about it, you're angry about it. You can't premeditate.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think, at least for me, that makes me think back to like improv. At the end of the day, you're making choices, right? You're quickly making choices. You're agreeing with your scene partner. That's a choice, right? You're deciding how your character in the scene would respond or react to something. You're making information, right? It's just a series of choices. And like with something like cold reading or acting, right? The character that you're forming, it's how that character would make those choices. And that informs everything that you do, the lines you speak, right? The blocking that you do on stage, or it's everything like that. And I'm like, man, it's just doing this is helping me get better at being less passive and more active.
Yeah, totally.
Choices.
Totally. Yeah.
I know my life, like outside of, not doing improv, like other things, like I want to be someone who is more active and not passive. And that's something I think about. I'm like, man, I can be a passive person sometimes. And that's not always the most helpful thing.
Right. Well, it's like you want to have it, if you have an impulse, and it's like a trust fall with yourself in a way. You're like, oh, he liked it.
A trust fall with yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. It feels, cause it, got you, babe.
I got you, babe.
It's that same thing with like the confidence too, to just be like, I have that same with if it's a little too wishy-washy or passive, I like to sit and really meditate on what it is what my wise mind really wants me to do. And because I am the same way where if it's like a little foggy or indecisive, it doesn't feel great. I want to be
Yeah.
you know, clear.
Yeah.
That clear.
Yeah, because that's
vision.
gonna translate like to other people as well. They'll
Totally.
see that, you know, and be like, Austin Irving came in, and great website, but I was, I was watching her in her scene, and things were a little muddy. But if they're like, Austin Irving came in, she read for this commercial and clear cut decisions.
Yeah.
Let's book her. Let's book her right now.
She's ready.
Write that down. Write her down. Bring me her headshot. And like,
She's booked.
get her on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like the strength in your decision. And that, I don't think that's just acting, that's life too, in relationships and just with
clear.
yourself every day, like making judgment calls. I know at work, that's a big thing for me. Like a lot of what I have to do is like I work in tech now, so I'm like tech support basically.
Okay,
so I'm like, when I'm helping people or I'm like out in the field helping someone, I'm like, I gotta make decisions on how to make this right. Like, or I make a call and I make things worse sometimes. It's happened. But
no, the computer's on fire.
You're like,
what do I do?
Wow, how'd that happen?
Yeah. I mean, you have to. Yeah, well, especially if you're problem solving. That's
that's true. Yeah, literally every day. I'm just like,
wow, that's got to be hard.
I kind of love it.
Do you?
Yeah,
It's like a puzzle.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, like solving other people's problems can be easier than solving your own. I'm like, well, it's your problem. I'll help you solve it. Like,
and then you're the hero.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say this.
Okay. I'm ready.
People who work in tech get more credit than they deserve. Sometimes.
Okay.
And I can say that because I work in tech.
Okay.
Because honestly, like I've watched a lot of YouTube and I just Google a lot, or just like turn something off and turn it back on. And like those three steps. Yeah.
You try
like,
turning it back on. Yeah.
It's a joke, but it's so real.
Yeah, it's true.
Like half my job is that, not half, but like 25% of my job is that I deal with Apple TVs a lot and I can just remotely restart them. And that's it. That's it. And they go, oh, it works fine now. I'm like, I just could click something on the computer.
Well, maybe it was your bedside manner too.
That's true. I do try to be, very cordial. Like, hey, like, hope your day's going well. I'm going to go ahead and restart your Apple TV. Like, let me know if it works better. Like, if not, we'll figure it out. And try to. There's people skills to it as well.
So people get panicky around.
Yeah, they do.
Their gear. Yeah. They're like, oh no, I need it now. I need my Apple TV now. You know. It's urgent. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
If you have a calm, collected, great radio voice guy helping you, I think there's credit to be dealt out there.
It's over email, unfortunately. So
Never mind.
My voice has not come through. Yeah, but I have been told I have a face for radio. So that's maybe a face and a voice for radio.
You're so silly. No, you have a great voice. That's so funny. I thought it was over the phone.
Yeah, I mean sometimes, but it's like help desk.
Got it.
Like tickets and like I get like chat messages from. I'm helping teachers. So yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I'm just on the other side of education.
Totally.
The tech side. So yeah.
That's
so they're like, hey, Michael, like, so there's relationships there, which is nice, but never on the phone.
Okay.
I don't know that I would like that.
Oh. Okay.
Do you do well like with phone calls? Like
love phone calls.
Like anyone?
Yeah, I love talking on the phone.
Like if you have to call your insurance, you do it?
Do it. I'll wait on hold. I don't even care. I will get what I want from a botched car rental situation just from sheer kindness and perseverance. And I will get that refund. I will get it.
You're a good person to know.
And I just have that skill. It's patience.
Yeah.
And then controlling anger.
That's true. Simmer. Like,
but I do like talking on the phone. Actually, I feel like sometimes email and text you can lose some. Translation.
The humanity.
Yeah, or like misunderstand.
Yeah,
something.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah, I like talking on the phone. Just talked to my best friend on the phone for like 2 hours earlier today.
Yeah, I respect that.
Yeah. He lives in New York, so
you gotta
just chat. I know a lot of friends who don't they're not phone people, and that's fine. I respect that. But I'm gonna call you anyway.
Yeah, you're gonna be. While we're on the phone, you're a phone person. But that's a good kind of friend though, because you're like, hey, I know you don't like to do this, but we need to talk, and it's not just texting all the time. That's important.
It's important.
And I think I wouldn't consider myself a phone person, but on occasion I'll have that long phone call with a friend.
I'll have it.
It's important.
It's important.
Yeah. All right. Welcome to the Call Your Friends on the Phone podcast. Yeah.
Call them right up.
Call them right now. So after you finish listening to this episode, call someone you haven't spoken to in a month and just talk to them for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Even if they don't want to be there.
Yeah. And you could like you could cook at the same time. You don't have to just sit there and stare at the ceiling.
While you're in traffic, that's a good one.
Traffic is a great one.
That's a great one here.
Talk to a lot of people while I'm driving.
Yeah. Takes me like 45 minutes to get here.
Oh, brother.
On the way back, it's great. It's like 20, but yeah.
That's humiliating.
Yeah. When I drive home tonight, I'm going to be like, this is too fast.
Too fast. I have no one to call.
Yeah. Sometimes I pull over just to make it take longer. No, that's so terrible. Funny. All right. Austin, I want to get us back on track, but I appreciate this tangent of the importance of calling your friends on the phone, having good patience and controlling your anger, the importance of making decisions. But kind of jumping back to improv, right? I have a couple more questions for you, and then we're going to play some games.
Okay.
What do you think overall has been improv's impact in your life? It's a big one. It's a doozy.
That's a big one. But I can answer it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to right now.
Let's hear it.
The biggest impact that improv has had on my life is it's been truly instrumental in recovering from having an eating disorder. It is so unbelievably helpful. It's the antithesis of eating disorder mind. You have to not plan. You have to be free. You have to honor your impulses, and you have to not care about what you look like. Very hard for those of us who have spent many years caring very much about those other things and structuring your life around presenting the most, the optimal package. So in that respect, it's been instrumental in my recovery from dealing with body dysmorphia and having just being uncomfortable. It like weirdly. Doing improv is so uncomfortable that it makes me comfortable in a weird way. You know, because you have to be comfortable in order to be that uncomfortable.
You're forcing yourself to be vulnerable and to be in front of people and just like all eyes on me.
Just all eyes on you and like messy and like freakish.
Yeah. And you can't always control how things are going to go.
You cannot. You would be dead in the water if you tried to control it all. Or if you came in with a plan. No plan. Because if you, no plan. Because you otherwise, you can't be there to receive whatever's happening at that moment and have your authentic reaction to it. So in that respect, hugely helpful in sort of rewiring my brain away from the punitive black and white thinking. Not fun.
And being so critical on yourself too.
Very critical. Very
just
critical.
Being able to shift that.
Yeah, it's fun to just like let it, like we said, bless and release and just let it go. And I was, you get to be all sorts of crazy things that you would never be outside, and how fun,
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
It's my pleasure. I actually know that some eating disorder clinics have improv classes in some of the treatments because it is so unbelievably spot on for these exact I guess just points of view. You have to change your point of view.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's really hard when you've been conditioned to have this worldview, and it's really hard to break out of it. And doing something physical like improv can really shake you out of that. It's like being deprogrammed from a cult in a lot of ways. You're like it's an entire paradigm shift of your brain. So
it's getting you out of your head.
Got to get out.
You can't think like that. You're just doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you can't. It's a battle that you're fighting, and to kind of get you out of that for a moment is, I imagine, incredibly helpful and hard to do.
It's very helpful. It's like making new neural pathways. So, because the other ones,
rewriting your brain.
Yeah, it's a lot of rewiring, and I think the kineticness of improv really helps with that rewiring. So, again, should be taught everywhere, I think. But I just like.
Oh no, I agree with that. I think could be helpful to so many people who are dealing or struggling with so many different things.
Couldn't agree more.
For me personally, dealing with my own things, it's just improv alone has been incredibly helpful.
Yeah. Glad to hear that.
You're just being depressed. Like,
Yeah.
improv goes
It's like
a long way.
releases endorphins, literally, like literal upper.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is. So if you want to get high, come to improv. Yeah, I think that's how Matt wants the studio to be advertised. So
that would be. We could. I already see the logos and the stickers. There's a lot of graphics we could incorporate.
You ever smoke improv?
Silly.
That's not going to work.
We'll come up with something.
Yeah, we need to get a marketing team in here.
We'll get the sports bra involved somehow.
Yeah, weed, sports bras. We'll start with that.
Trust falls.
Trust falls, but with yourself. Yeah, that would be, I think, like a good drawing. You know, I can picture like a drawing of like someone, and then they're catching themselves
while smoking a blunt.
Even better.
Yeah.
And then it's Snoop Dogg. And then Martha Stewart's there in the background.
Always. They're together forever.
Yeah, they really are. I kind of love that. I mean, I know she was in prison for like insider trading, but she served her time.
She's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our Congress people do that too, and they're not in prison. So, anyway.
Oh my God, my face hurts from smiling so much.
That's
such a smiley moment.
That's a good problem to have. Well, we're going to smile a little more.
Okay.
Okay, so I have one final question for you, Austin, just related to improv. So on your improv journey thus far, you've studied in the hallowed halls of UCB. Correct. You've studied in the hallowed halls of Improv for the People, and you've been on a team, right? You've honed your craft. You've learned a lot from improv, and it's given you skills and helped you in these other areas of your life. What do you think in your improv journey is next? Is there a goal that you have? Is it just kind of seeing where improv takes you? What's the next chapter?
Wow.
2023 for Austin Irving.
Wow.
What does the improv journey look like?
What a great question. That's a great question. I would have to say that I think that my recent experience doing a show here was so positive that I think I would like perhaps more opportunities to perform live.
Yeah.
I think that would be nice.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't know that I am going to be like trying to book myself for various open mic night or whatever, and open calls for groups or stuff. But I think, if there's more shows here, or if something happens organically, I would really like that. I mean,
you're open to it.
I'm open to it. Yeah. I think I'm in no rush to be, dedicating a ton of time to, promoting myself in that way. But, I think if it comes about organically, I would welcome it with open arms.
Open arms.
Yeah.
You heard it here, folks. Austin Irving welcoming improv opportunities with open arms in 2023. So improv opportunities, if you're listening.
Come on.
AustinIrving.com.
She has a website. It's her name. Yeah, it's really good.
It's really good. It's not about improv though, but it's about all the other incredible work you do.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Pleasure.
So now it's time. We're going to do some improv because we've been talking about it for a while, and it's time to do some work. So we have 3 games we're going to be playing tonight, Austin. And what I love about the games we play here on the podcast is that so far through now 14 episodes, we have never played the same game twice.
Whoa.
So every game has been at least slightly different. You know? So the first game we're going to be playing tonight is called Pet Peeves.
Oh my.
Pet Peeves.
Okay.
So, Austin, what I would like you to do, can you think of maybe 1 or 2 pet peeves that you have?
1 or 2 pet peeves that I have.
Pet peeves. Yeah, just what are some pet peeves that you have?
Okay. I really don't. I don't like material that's not really soft. I'll allow it if possible, but if I have a choice and it's itchy, it needs to go away for me. It's part of being a highly sensitive person. Okay. She doesn't. So a pet peeve is like if there's like a tag itching, or like if the fabric is weird, I need to. It's pretty urgent that I need to fix it. So itchy.
Okay.
Itchy fabric
itchy
and tags.
fabric. Yeah.
Yeah.
Particularly in clothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe sheets or like sometimes
like near you. Yeah.
Sheets, blankets.
Don't like that.
That kind
Don't
of
like
thing.
that. Let's see. Okay, so that's a thing, and then a pet peeve. Oh, I know it's sort of like a cliche pet peeve, but like it really bums me out when people don't put their carts back.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they take up a parking spot doing it. They leave it in a parking spot.
Yeah. It's like, what is the cart parked there?
Really bums me out when that happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I make a real strong effort to put my carts away.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm a
More
cart-away
people need to do that.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a pet peeve.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah. I think people who put carts away should get like a discount at the store.
I couldn't agree more.
If we were to incentivize people, like maybe you get a sample of something. Yeah. And like, I don't know.
Totally. Yeah. Like a point system or something. You can like spend the points at the end of the month on something.
Yeah. But I mean, I return my cart anyway.
Right.
But
those who don't might want to.
We could get the whole gang involved,
That's not a bad idea. I feel like Ralph's should call up Ralph's.
Yeah. See what they have a huge problem with carts just being left in the lot.
Such big parking lots, so many carts.
Yeah. It's a real problem. Someone needs to get on that. Ralph, wherever you are, Ralph. And Albertson. And
Ralph and Albert.
And Joe the trader,
Yeah, Joe the trader.
Yeah, Joe the trader.
Vaughn.
He needs to get in Vaughn. Yeah.
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 Vince Vaughn.
All this Vince Vaughn, you're right. Yeah. He's too busy trying to write Swingers too. He needs to he needs to get on that. All right. Okay, Austin. So jumping back to your pet peeves. So the pet peeves are people who don't return carts.
Okay, yeah.
And itchy materials. We're going to pick itchy materials and we're going to do a scene based off your pet peeve of itchy materials.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. And we're just going to do the scene. All we get is that pet peeve of itchy materials are, you don't like them. That's our prompt.
Yeah.
And I'll black us out when I think we're done.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Jennifer?
Yeah?
So excited. I got you something for your birthday. Here.
Billy, you shouldn't have.
I had to.
Open it.
I had to.
Oh my.
Oh, it's a raw wool sweater. I just had to.
Wow. That's so kind of you. I see that you knitted it yourself, and I see this. Wow, it's raw wool.
Raw wool. Yeah.
Yeah, I just I appreciate what you did here.
Thank you.
And I just need you to know, because we've been friends for a really long time, and I feel like our communication's really good right now.
Yeah, you can tell me anything.
I'm never gonna wear this, Bill. I'm sorry. I just have to. I'm just not gonna wear it. Okay. I'm not.
Jennifer, I've been doing community service hours at that sheep farm. And, I thought every time I'm there, trying to get rid of my sentence, I'm doing those community service hours.
I knew you were going to bring that up.
I just thought, I thought Jennifer, she's really supported me through this process. I'd like to make her something, that's related to the work I'm doing.
Listen, okay, I get that. And my heart goes out to you and the crime that you did that you're now being punished for.
Yeah, it was jaywalking. Yeah, that's right. I'm the one guy who's gotten a ticket for jaywalking. And they said you can either pay it off or do community service. So I chose community service.
And that was very brave of you.
Yeah,
that was very brave. But I have to tell you that this isn't the first time that you've. It seems like it's almost like a selfish gift in a weird way, right? Because like this is about you and your time served and the sheep, and this is something you're doing. How many times have I told you that I have sensitive skin? Remember last month I was like, bring home all the Jergens. Bring it. Why do you think that is? It's because it's itch. It's dry here. It's dry, and I need the lotion. And the last thing I need is raw wool. It's literally the last thing I need in my life right now. I mean, you know how bad it is at work. You know how shitty it's been with Tom. And you're giving me this fucking sweater that's itchy?
I just thought...
You don't expect me to wear it, do you?
I do. I mean...
Oh my God.
This is really, making a lot of things click. It makes sense because I remember I finished that woodworking class and I gave you that bracelet made of sandpaper. I've never seen you wear it.
Well, this is why I have to be real with you now, because the sandpaper bracelet was literally my worst nightmare. I couldn't even wear it for more than 1 second.
Oh my gosh.
And you know what? I felt bad. I put it in my drawer and I was like, fuck, Bill's going to want to know where that bracelet is, and I don't want to have to. Yeah, and see, I knew you've been holding on to this whole time, so that's why when you handed me this monstrosity of a garment, I wanted to be upfront with you. It's a monstrosity. Sure, the craftsmanship is nice, okay, but like it's not even from a store, so I can't even return it. What do you know what I mean? It's like it's a selfish gift. You are not paying attention to how sensitive my skin is. That's what's happening here.
Okay, Jennifer. I guess it was a bit of a selfish gift. I just thought.
Thank you.
I wanted to give you something nice after my community service program, and you know I like to make you goods and items to wear, and
please stop.
I'm now realizing that I did make you a crown of thorns for your birthday this year.
Well, I guess I could go as Jesus for Halloween.
Blackout.
I was going to be like, I actually do have a very sensitive skin. All the things you described sound like my personal
So I was
hell.
just like,
It's nightmarish. Nightmarish.
Yeah, I love how you're like, why? I asked you for the Jergens.
The Jergens.
That's a great name for lotion, you know? Like that's just like if Jergens wasn't lotion, I'd be disappointed.
No,
you know?
It had to be, because what else could it be? Nothing.
Yeah. Imagine Jergens, but it's like mayonnaise. You're like, what? You're like, no, I'll stick with Hellman's, thank you. Like, yeah.
Hellman's and Jergens.
Yeah.
Best friends forever. Same consistency. Different uses.
Oh dear. All right. Well done,
fun.
Austin. All right. So we're going to move on to our next game. This one's going to be a bit of a different style. So this game is called Here Comes Miss So-and-so. So in this game, it's going to be a bit of a back and forth. So how it's going to work is that we're going to be essentially, to use the improv term, pimping one another back and forth. All right. Would you like to begin? Or
Sure.
All right.
Well. Here comes Mr. Snotnose.
Yeah. Woke up this morning, let me tell you, real green this morning. Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I'm talking Oscar the Grouch. The snot out of my nose. You want to see?
No thanks.
Oh, great. You kidding me? Here comes Miss Cardboard Collector.
Well, I just got the most incredible cardboard. You know where it was? Actually, behind Ralph's. I'm not even joking. I went back and I was like, I know they're throwing out some good cardboard today. And so I saw it and I grabbed it. And even though my car is already filled with cardboard, I put some more on the roof and I'm going to bring it home. I'm going to lay them all out. I'm going to dry them out. And I'm going to look at them. And then sometimes when they're really on the floor and they're flat, I just lay on them. I lay on them and then I roll. I roll from side to side. And you know how when you roll on cardboard, it kind of like folds down a little bit? You know how it kind of compresses a little?
I guess.
Yeah, I try and do that with my body.
Okay.
It's great.
Great. Good for you.
Well. Here comes Mr. Knee grabber.
Oh, let me see those knees. Let me count them. Oh, 1, 2, that's 2 knees. Let me grab them. Grab your knees. Hey, everybody, I'm Mr. Knee Grabber. Watch out for your knees. You know how some people play that joke, got your nose? Well, I got your knees. Except I take them for real. You can find me at the local hospital taking knees. And that's it. That's what I do. I grab knees. I've got quite the collection at home. See you around. Oh boy. Here she comes. I can't believe she's here. It's Miss Only Choose Used Gum.
Oh yeah, I mean it's just more flavorful, don't you think? I mean, sure the flavor of the packaged goods is gone, but then you get the flavor of someone else's saliva, and that right there is a gift because everyone's mouth is different. It's like a snowflake. So I'm basically chewing snowflakes, but they don't dissolve because it's gum. So I'm chewing it, and it's just wonderful. Honestly, my immune system so strong. Oh wow! Look, wow! It's Mr. Orange Squeezer.
There's nothing finer than squeezing an orange. What is that, a navel? Oh, it's a nice navel orange. I'm going to squeeze it into my mouth. Oh, orange! Stings the eyes a bit. You should try it sometime. If I'm really feeling crazy, I'll get me some cuties. Squeeze them on my face. Can you? I cannot believe she's here. Are you serious? It's Miss doesn't vote in local elections. She's here right now.
Yeah, I don't vote because voting is a sin. That's right. I like to just not choose stuff. It doesn't just start at voting. It continues on to all sorts of choices. You should see me in an elevator. Never pressing a button, am I right? Just standing there. Yeah, choices are tough. Choices are really tough because honestly, I'd rather not choose. Everything that's out there is just too intense. I'd rather just sit back and let the world fall apart and before my very eyes, honestly. It's just too much. Don't want to make a choice.
Blackout.
Oh, you can keep going forever. Goodness. That was so
I
fun.
know. That was good. That last character, oh man, I was like, I didn't serve you up very good. And then you just killed it.
Oh,
you
good.
Just killed it.
I felt like knee grabber could have been, I wanted to do something with leg hair, but it was different. It didn't come out the right way. I mean, it came out the perfect way, but you did great with knee grabber. I was like, oh no.
I was like, that could be really scary. Like there should be a movie where it's like, I got your knees. Yeah. It's just a horror movie called The Knee Grabber.
The Knee Grabber. It's terrifying.
Because I mean, even imagine you're just sitting in public place and like someone just grabs your knee.
Terrible.
That's
gross. And like, I think about it, like a knee cap. It's like removable. Yeah. Like there's a cap. Yeah. You can take it off.
I don't.
Gross.
I got to do some Googling later. I gotta see how that works. The anatomy. Yeah. Yikes. All right. We've got one last game we're going to be playing tonight, Austin. This game is called Survivor. Not based at all in the early 2000s. Still airing TV show, actually. It's still on, I think. Yeah. Yeah. Which is pretty good. I mean, reality shows, they last forever. So in this game, Austin, you have recently been rescued after being stranded, deserted on an island. You've recently been rescued, and you're sitting down for an interview to discuss how you survived. And during this interview, you're going to need to explain how you survived, including these 3 objects. Okay. So I'm going to interview you. You're going to tell me how you survived by using a straw.
Okay.
A map. And silk. And just to set you up, you were on a deserted island. That's where you were stranded.
And I had all those things there with me.
Yep. You had a straw, a map, and silk.
Well,
tell us your story.
I got to tell you that right now that it was lonely on that island. It was real lonely. All I had were my worms.
Oh my goodness.
My silkworms.
Oh my goodness.
And I don't know if you know how silk is made.
I don't.
You gotta boil those worms alive in their cocoons.
Oh my gosh.
I was basically murdering my friends.
Oh my, I see, I'm just in such shock.
It was real hard. It was real hard to make friends with those silkworms and then murder them to make silk. I needed that silk though. I needed it because I was cold. Silk is very, very cozy and warm. So right then and there, I decided to murder my friends, make my silk, wear my silk around. It was quite flowy in the breeze at times. It felt good. There was a little bit of joy I felt stranded, my friends murdered. Then, I did have a way to get around the island because I did have a map. It was only a couple of stones that I had put into the floor to replicate the various landmarks on this island. Like there was a few trees, and also there was a small river. So my map was pretty cohesive.
Yeah.
And I used that frequently to help me orient myself around that island while I was wearing my silk robes made from my friends. And honestly, I mean, what I had for food, all I had were coconuts. which are
coconuts.
coconuts are very nutritious.
Incredible.
There's both liquid and meat. It's liquid and meat in there. So I had coconut meat, and then I had coconut juice that I sucked up with my homemade straw, made out of bamboo.
Wow.
Yeah.
Homemade straw.
Honestly, it was more the loneliness than anything, because my bodily needs were met. I had my coconut, and I had my coconut.
Yeah.
But what really hurt there, Kent, was that I had made very strong connections with these worms, and in order to clothe myself, a bodily function, you need to keep warm on the island. I could still hear their screams at night. I can hear them now.
Oh, I can only imagine the pain you went through.
It was very painful to see them, to see their little bodies boil up like that, producing the most beautiful material I've ever felt. But at what cost?
Yeah.
My heart.
At what cost?
My heart hurts.
Your friends made an incredible sacrifice to get you
They
here
sacrificed for me. Oh, God. I named them all. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that if I had known that I needed their little cocoon bodies to keep me warm on the island to survive. Beatrice. Tabitha. Oh, my God. Bert.
Oh.
Samson.
Wow. There's so many.
The list could go on and on.
Oh.
But I won't bore you with their names. I've already made graves for them, so I can visit them whenever I want. Tell them about my stories about being back on the mainland.
Yeah. Well, Edna, we're really glad you made it through, and the story of your resourcefulness.
Thank you, Kent.
I'm Kentucky for Channel 5 News. And again, the incredible story of
I made it.
Edna. She made it. She survived on an island with only a bamboo straw, a gaggle of silkworms,
God,
and a homemade map.
I'm sorry, worms. Sorry.
Blackout. Wow.
I learned that recently about silkworms. Isn't that horrible?
They boil them.
They boil them alive.
I had no idea. I thought it was just kind of like a spider web kind of situation.
It's their cocoons.
Wow.
I learned that from a book that J.K. Rowling wrote under her pen name, Robert Galbraith.
Oh, the
Cormoran Strike books.
Yeah,
They're so good.
Oh.
One of the books was called The Silkworm. So
okay.
I learned a lot from
Okay.
that book.
Oh, all right.
Couldn't recommend them more. They're so good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember learning about like the Silk Road, from like history, but
never learned about the
no one ever told you what happened to the worms.
There's no real talk.
Yeah, they just boil them.
Boil them up.
That's pretty terrible.
I know.
So next time you're laying in your silk sheets, think about the worm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about the worm.
Yeah.
And I know you probably have silk because you like comfortable things.
I do. I actually bought a ridiculously overpriced silk robe to be a bride.
Well,
It was very important to have
the worms understand.
The worms,
Yeah.
they need to sacrifice themselves and stuff like that.
Well, for that situation,
I think so. I didn't feel bad about that.
Yeah.
Silk sheets, it's a little much.
Yeah, because then it's like all the time.
Right.
Yeah. Plus, I don't know that they breathe well. I'm not sure.
No, and actually, you know what? They're not that friendly on the skin. Not as much as like a nice cotton.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Sateen.
All right. All right. Well, Austin, thank you so much for playing and talking sheets and worms and so many other things. I want to thank you for coming on the show and just sharing about your experience with improv, how it's impacted your life, how it's benefited you and helped you just grow into the person that you are today. I want to give you the chance. Any final words that you want to leave us with before we go this evening?
I guess my final word is that this has been a delight. You are wonderful. Anyone else who has a chance to come on this show should consider themselves to be lucky people. And I'm so grateful to be a part of this wonderful community. I'm so glad I went to camp.
Yeah. Improv camp next fall.
I'm a stronger person because of it. Yeah. I would express my gratitude for this incredible studio. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Thank you one more time to Austin Irving. If you haven't, please check out austinirving.com. Austin does some incredible work with photography, just some amazing stuff. You'll see both beautiful architecture just captured in such a unique way. You'll see the beauty of nature in her caves project, so many different things. So go check it out. And while you're doing that, if you're a fan of Improv for the Podcast, we love, as always, if you could leave us a review on Spotify or iTunes. We love to hear from our listeners just to get some feedback on what you think of our episodes. But until then, we'll see you next time.
Yay.
Improv for the Podcast was created by Matt Moore and Michael Lee Evans. Edited and produced by Michael Lee Evans. And finally, presented by Improv for the People. Interested in more IFTP? You can visit us at improvforthepeople.com or on our socials, such as Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. Remember, new episodes are released weekly. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.